Hi everyone, today I'm covering another user-requested review, the XY-10 budget handheld. The XY-10 often floats around the $20 mark at the moment and can play up to and including the GBA library. It quotes PlayStation 1 support, which I couldn't get working and is often the case with these super budget handhelds, but does have an inbuilt camera, media player and HDMI out alongside the gaming features. It even includes a little HDMI cable as well as very cheap headphones, which makes it feel at least a complete package. Straight out of the box, the XY-10 actually has some pretty good first impressions, as it's a nice size, incredibly light and looks okay at first glance. These good first impressions weren't going to last, unfortunately, so we'll see more about that later, but at the very least, the first impression was good. The controls are very loose though, and the budget feeling is there throughout. They've obviously gone from a PSP-like style, but with none of the finesse or responsiveness you would expect. The analog stick is okay in isolation, but it's so tall that the underside of my thumb sits on and moves it while using the D-pad, so I need to change my hold on the handheld to compensate. The buttons and D-pad are overall okay, but could certainly be improved greatly. The D-pad in particular is very loose, with no middle pivot to help angle in any direction. The buttons fare slightly better, but are still incredibly loose. They're not outright terrible for a budget handheld, but equally not anything to write home about either. The two shoulder buttons are rough and relatively hard to press, but you do have a USB-A on top to plug in an additional controller as well as a mini HDMI out for TV connectivity. The stock OS is the same that we've seen on countless budget handhelds before now, but do seem to be the more modern version of it. It's a relatively straightforward to use OS, though it's very slow and clunky to operate, and does feature some ability to remap controls, set scaling options and save states for the games. The build quality of the XY-10 did really end up crushing any first impressions for me though. You can tell just by the look of the plastic mould for the case that it's low quality, but it really does feel cheap in the hand and decays remarkably quickly. This footage just caught after a couple hours of use to capture how I felt about it, and you can see the dust is already getting stuck everywhere, where the case seems to actively attract it. The LCD screen was full of scratches straight out of the box, and these are on the underside of the outer screen, so it was literally assembled this way. There's scratches and nicks on the plastic case itself, which is slowly peeling away, so I very much doubt that the case will last very long at all. I did get in contact with the seller about this, and apparently I'm the exception of the rule, so I was also offered a replacement, but just wanted to make sure that I got some of this captured, as the build quality really did put a damper on things for me. So I'll cut to some gameplay now and then just summarise back up at the end. Overall, the XY-10 at $20 or even occasionally below would offer quite a deal for some super budget retro gaming in just about a passable handheld package. But unfortunately, the overall build quality of the shell just put too much of a damper on it for me. If I am the exception of the rule and the build quality is mixed overall, and there are genuinely better cases out there, then the XY-10 may well be one of the retro gaming bargains. But as mine is, I was ultimately left disappointed. That's it for now though. Thanks so much for watching.